So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on Fabio Wardley and what he should be pretty much be doing next in regards to his career moving forward. So he recently took on, as we all know, Fraser Clarke for the British title, which is his title. So Fraser Clarke was the challenger. Now this fight itself was a British blockbuster, and one of the fights that most people will probably remember for British title heavyweight wise. It had everything. It had knockdowns, it had points deduction, it had a slugfest, both of these guys going toe to toe, and it had a little bit of boxing elegance as well from Fraser Clarke at times as well. But going forward, this video is pretty much about Fabio Wardley and what he should be doing next with his career. The fight itself was a very, very close fight on the night. It was a split decision from the judges, where one judge had it 115, 112 to Clarke, 115 to 113 for Wardley, and then a split on the other job. Other referee. So yeah, close fight for both guys, and it was a grueling fight. But it probably took more out of Fabio Wardley in terms of damage wise, because obviously his nose was badly damaged. Obviously, there's a lot of blood coming out of it. That could probably be the norm for Fabio Wardley, because that could possibly happen in training on a regular basis. However, it's something that him and his team need to consider going forward, and potentially he may even need maybe some sort of operation to try and prevent that from happening in future fights. If that is the case, then it's going to be a thing where Fabio Wardley could be out the ring for a couple of months, maybe at least 12 weeks before he could maybe get into training as well. Because obviously, if he would have the operation quite soon, then roughly it takes about 12 weeks, give or take, for something to kind of heal like that. But yeah, it just depends on the situation in regards to where his kind of nasal cavity is at this pretty much moment in time. But there's a lot of fights out there for him. There's obviously the potential rematch straight away, which he could obviously wait once he's healed up and he feels ready and he's back in training. He could pretty much try and run it back with Clarke. But I personally wouldn't like to see that at this moment in time, because I feel as if we let this fight simmer a little bit more, let's say 6, maybe 12 months down the line, this fight would be a lot bigger, and it potentially could be, maybe a small, big stadium fight. Who knows, really, because it just depends on where both guys are at that time in their career. But for Fabio Wardley, he obviously shown a lot of heart, a lot of courage, and that never say die attitude coming forward. Getting hit with some brilliant jabs by Fraser Clarke, and just kept steamrolling forward and hurting his man at times with his big hooks and uppercuts, and looking like the man who was more likely to stop someone in that fight. That was Fabio Wardley. He just looked like a wrecking machine. But his defense was lackluster at times. It was none and void, and he was kept getting hit quite too easy with the jab. But as I said, going forward, there's a lot of pros and cons, because he's still young, so he's still got a lot of time to develop. And I've been hearing quite a lot of different um, opinions from a lot of the experts in the games into regards to what Fabio should be doing going forward. Some say that he should potentially try and maybe move to America and potentially find a more defensive coach and have a couple of bouts out there before returning to the UK and having maybe that big blockbuster fight with Fraser Clarke. Whereas others say pretty much he should pretty much run it straight away. Both of them should get back in the ring, and whatever happens, then move on going forward with his career. But there's some good fights out there for Fabio Wardley. As I said, he's still young, and he still could pretty much develop, and hopefully, who knows, maybe claim a European title, or maybe challenge for one of the lesser world champion belts at some point. But yeah, I think what I'd like him to pretty much look to do next, he needs more 12 rounders under his belt. He needs more sterner opposition. And there's some good fighters out there who I feel would give him this, good tough fight. And we've seen a Justice Hooney who fought recently. And again, he looks like a good prospect as well. We know Jermaine Franklin. He's been in there with Anthony Joshua and Dillian White, and he gave both of those guys a tough fight. So he most likely would give Fabio Wardley a good fight as well. There's a few other names in the top 15 in various different bodies, such as Yapulev. He's still there, quite surprising. Obviously, Jonathan Guidry. I don't really know a lot about this guy, but obviously he's ranked in all four of the governing bodies, so obviously he must have some decent pedigree behind him. But yeah, I'd like him to have a few more 12 rounders before potentially getting back in there with someone like a Clark, because I feel as if we, as I said, if we let this fight simmer just a little bit more, it could be bigger. But he certainly, from my point anyway, Fabio Wardley needs to work on his defensive skills a little bit more, because offensively he's got it. He's got the power, he's got that heart, he's got that desire to win. He just probably needs to take that a little bit more care in his defensive abilities, because obviously going forward, the opposition is going to be better. They're going to punch harder than what Clark would be as well, which means that if he's taking shots quite easily, there's a chance of him getting knocked out. So yeah, I wouldn't really like to see that, obviously, because I think Fabio Wardley's done brilliant from someone who hasn't had that big amateur career to where he is, claiming a British title and going up in against someone who's got a lot of pedigree in Frazer Clark, Olympic champion, etc. He's done very, very well, Fabio Wardley, but he just needs to probably find that defensive coach and then hopefully look to enhance his skills and then maybe progress going forward. But you guys can let me know your thoughts in regards to where you think Fabio Wardley, should go next in his career. Would you like him to pretty much go straight back in there and run it back with Frazer Clark, or would you like him to maybe take on a few other opponents, maybe in the top 15, who are roughly around him in similar sort of rankings, or maybe up there in maybe the top 49, because he's ranked 49 in the world. So would you like him to maybe go up against someone who's around him in that sort of sense? But you guys can let me know your thoughts regarding whatever happens anyway. He might have to vacate as well. So if he doesn't take on someone like a Clark next, he may have to vacate that British title. But as I said, it could be a bonus because he's already won it outright. It could be a case where he vacates it, has a couple more fights where they're, good opponents, good credible opponents, I should say, and maybe challenge the European champion, which I think is Caballero. I need to double check that. I think it's Caballero who the champion is. So, yeah, let's wait and see what happens. But, yeah, the future's bright at the minute for Fabio Wardley. As always, guys, please subscribe and comment. Bless.